Since we began the Damage Report, one of my favorite parts of doing this show is that I've been able to meet and hopefully talk to and then introduce to you candidates from around the country. And over the past few years, we have talked to literally hundreds of candidates, many of them first-time candidates running in both primary and general elections. So many great candidates, especially those endorsed by the Justice Democrats. We're very lucky to speak with now Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez during her primary. And so I am thrilled to begin that process for the next cycle as well, as we speak with the first endorsement from the Justice Democrats in the 2022 cycle, running in Tennessee's 5th district. Odessa Kelly, welcome to the Damage Report.
Hey, I'm glad to be here.
We're very glad to have you here as well. And so, hoping to speak with you as this race goes on, and there is a bit of time. Your primary is in August 4th of next year, which is late, and there are side effects of that, but it does mean that you have more time during that primary election. So, if you could introduce yourselves to our audience, we'd love to know more about you.
Of course. Hey, my name is Odessa Kelly. I am a native from Nashville, Tennessee, which is a rarity. And Nashville these days is one of the fastest growing cities in the country. I came from a working class background and community, and I went through public school my entire life, played basketball at Tennessee State University, graduated from Tennessee State University, and got a job working for the city. I worked for Metro Parks and Recreation for almost 14 years of my life. And that work is what led me into becoming the executive director of Stand Up Nashville and doing activism work. Every day I was in a community where people were always had their backs against the walls, living check to check, trying to figure out how they were gonna make it to the next moment, and understanding they had these barriers that were in front of them that they didn't place there, that we as a society had placed in front of them, and then doing that work, doing Stand Up Nashville, that pushed me to this moment, where I was like, I can't sit around in a moment and watch democracy happen when I have every right to be a part of it, just like you do.
Exactly, and you are running in a primary, so there is a current representative, Jim Cooper, a conservative Democrat. So tell me about the decision not only to run, but to run in a primary against this particular Democrat. What made you want to do that?
Yeah, I think it goes back to this past year was eye-opening. I think 2020 showed us not just who we are around the pandemic and around racial tensions, but how we don't respond to crises well, and how we have been putting, fiscal notes and pocketbooks in front of humanitarian needs. And I just didn't want to let that happen anymore. People need to be centered in the middle of the process, and people also want to have leadership that I'm inspired by and leadership that I can trust. I'm tired of having leadership that's always the last person to do the right thing. And I'm running for my own life. I have family members who definitely need Medicare for All and need Social Security, something that Congressman Cooper's always trying to cut.
And so some of the big topics that dominated political talk last year during the election, we had the pandemic. Obviously, there was the massive social movement around Black Lives Matter and criminal justice. Jim Cooper, what was his leadership like for those crises last year?
I don't know, and that's the problem. As an organizer, I can tell you about what we did. I can tell you about how I was affected by it as a Black woman, as a mother of a Black son. I think today, we just had another individual that was shot and killed. I don't know what we can say. I have marched, I've protested. We've organized around these things, yet it still keeps happening. And we need to have congressional leadership that has a shared perspective at the top that knows the urgency of these needs.
Okay, and I know you have an ad out, and you talk about quite a few high-profile issues. What are you hoping to make this campaign sort of center around? What particular issues are you going to be focusing on?
Well, the top two things that I want to focus on if I get elected is Medicare for All and Green New Deal with union jobs. And the reason why that's important for me is because, again, being an African American, a person that's usually living check to check, I never have the time to think or give my 2 cents about the earth, but the earth is important to me. So voting for the Green New Deal does 2 things. It gives me a chance to help clean up the earth and do my fair share. And also it helps build pathways out of poverty for communities that usually don't have those, And Medicare For All after this past year, I think we had over 500,000 deaths. And a lot of those could have been avoided. So those would be the biggest 2 things. Another thing too is I want people to be able to see themselves and hear themselves, when they have someone in the congressional leadership that's speaking on their behalf. And then that's who I am. I'm someone that has a shared perspective of people who are on the ground every day just trying to make it.
Okay. So whenever I have a candidate on, I do research about them, and I saw an article about you from Fox News attempting to very early get out and define you as being pro-political violence because of some comments, including a reference to you wanting to smack the blank out of, I believe it was Ted Cruz, which is less incendiary than many of the things I say about Ted Cruz on a normal week. What do you think about that? Obviously, political violence is a big topic in America over the past 6 months or so for obvious reasons. How do you respond to that sort of criticism coming from Fox News?
I think it's rich, I think it's a lesson to really be careful with the words that you say, but to clear the air, I think it was right after Trayvon Martin had died. I went to an event that was people that was impacted by his murder, and at that event, all of a sudden these people just started marching in with some bow ties, and I looked up and it was Farrakhan there. So this is a person I only usually see on TV. So I just tweeted out like, Farrakhan is here,
And that was considered very inflammatory.
Yeah.
You stated a fact. Yes. So I want to make sure, I know that we're very early on this process. Normally when we talk to candidates, we ask, sort of how they want potential viewers who might want to help them out. But I have to admit at this point, with the pandemic still existing, I don't know what campaigning is like. I know what it was like last year. So at this stage, what is your campaign looking for? How can people in your district possibly help out?
Yeah, thank you for asking that. It's very simple, volunteering and money, is the 2 things that we definitely need at this point. The reason why we started so early is because I'm not independently wealthy. There's a redistricting issue that can happen here, and we won't find out until late January of next year whether that happens or not. And no, I don't have the funds to just jump in at that time. And we wanted to run a serious race for the people here who need help. Go to OdessaForCongress.com, go to any of the social media platforms, and whatever you can give, we appreciate it. Even if it's telling your friend, your mama, or your rich friend, give Odessa some money. What we don't want to be is one of those campaigns like the wealth gap is a real thing. A lot of people come in at the end of campaigns and give money, but by that time, the other candidate has a 9-10 month start. So, we're really trying to reach that goal right here in this moment so that you can hear my voice. This is a campaign I hope that all of you out there are proud of, because it's me telling a story and using this platform to tell the story of real, everyday, hardworking people.
Okay. Odessa Kelly running in the 5th District of Tennessee. Appreciate you joining us on the show today. Thank you very much.
Thank you for having me.
Check out the Damage Report podcast each day, wherever you get your podcasts, whether Pocket Casts or Stitcher or iTunes. You can join me as I give you the news and stories you want, with a range of co-hosts and interview guests jumping in on the fun each day. Again, that's the Damage Report, wherever you get your podcasts. And if you get them at iTunes, don't forget to rate and review. Sometimes I'll read them live on the show.